Today, sophomore civil engineering major Javier Silva Ayala doesn't seem different from any other San Diego State student. But until recently, going to college here, just a few miles from home, was out of the question.
After high school, I was seriously thinking of moving back to Mexico to pursue higher education.
Silva and his parents moved to San Diego's City Heights neighborhood when he was 4. They had immigrated illegally and returned to Mexico for 2 years when Silva was in middle school. It was his choice for the family to move back to the U.S. when he was 14, and he didn't want to leave again.
San Diego is my home. I have all my friends here, all my family, so it was going to be a difficult process just assimilating if I moved back. The language, I probably speak English. We got your report cards.
Just as he started his last year of high school, California passed its own DREAM Act. It made the state one of a few to allow students living in the country illegally to qualify for state financial aid. And that meant attending college close to home was within Silva's reach.
It was just a relief of, not worrying okay, where am I going to go to Mexico? Who am I going to stay with? And just relieved all my worries.
Under the California DREAM Act, students like Silva, who attended high school for at least 3 years and graduated in the state, qualified for privately funded state scholarships starting last year. This year, he also became one of about 350 San Diego County DREAM Act students to receive a publicly funded CalGrant. The supplemental grant pays for things like textbooks and living expenses. That means Silva could give up his 16-hour-a-week landscaping job this year and focus on his classes.
I noticed in my grades how they have been improving. It also has helped me that I can be more involved in campus. I can come on campus on the weekends and study with friends, something that last year was very difficult as a freshman. And it would have helped a lot if I had the opportunity to get more involved during my freshman year.
Getting students this kind of support is at the top of Diana Fuentes-Michel's list of major professional accomplishments. She heads California's Student Aid Commission and says she's been working to help students like Silva access higher education for more than a dozen years.
They've worked and lived in the United States in terms of being in school and trying to get good grades and do the right thing. And so they're not going to go anywhere else. So they're either going to be very productive members of our society or they're not. And I think that's an economic reason why we need to consider these students as essential.
The Aid Commission estimates the state will pay just over $800 million in CalGrants this year. DREAM Act students will receive about $35 million. That's just over 4% of the total. The DREAM Act's opponents have a different economic perspective. Santee Assemblyman Brian Jones supported an effort to repeal the DREAM Act last year. At a political event on San Diego's waterfront, he says California needs a compassionate response to immigrants living in the state illegally, but this isn't it.
And the resources for the UC system, the CSU system, and the community colleges is limited. And we have lots of people competing for those grants and those scholarships that are here legally and can work here legally afterward.
Silva sees that question of what DREAM Act students can do after graduation as one that keeps many people who now qualify for state aid from applying.
Sometimes they may feel that if they do so, if they pursue a career here, that it will be a waste of time.
He holds out hope that Congress could pass comprehensive immigration reform by the time he graduates. But even if they don't, Silva says he knows he isn't pursuing an empty goal.
Well, I found myself personal motivation that I can still work in my career in Mexico. If that was the case, I'm still looking forward to do it here or in Mexico. But in a sense, there isn't really any other motivation but personal growth that I'd like to have and just be a role model for my brothers.
He says he wants to make as much of a contribution as he can, whether it's right here or on the other side of the border. Kyla Calvert, KPBS News.